Hello everybody, it is Saturday, March 28th. My name is JJ. You're watching Bull, Boom, Bear, Bust. Today I want to get into a topic about recession and depression, and can you survive and even thrive during a recession and depression even if you have no money? Well, yes, it is possible. The reason I say depression, recession is interchangeable is because we don't know how bad it's going to get. Here in the United States, I've always said prepare for the worst, hope for the best, try to prepare for the bear. In this case, the bear could be a depression, hopefully not. It depends on what happens. You know, they could eliminate the debt, we could file bankruptcy, or it could be a complete disaster with hyperinflation where the bank just keeps printing, the Fed, and we continue to see supply shortages, which causes demand to surge, therefore causing rapidly rising prices. That would be a bad worst case scenario in my opinion. But either way, let's take a look at the broad picture on this here. Now here are the bullet points, the main topics I want to touch on today. All hope is not lost if you're broke during a recession. Money equals freedom, so prepare to give up some of that freedom if you don't have money. Prepare to make sacrifices. We're going to talk about what those things mean. You will be your biggest asset during hard times. If you're going to have extra time, use it wisely. Because obviously if you're not working, you might have extra time. Health equals wealth. Knowledge equals value. And finally, you may need to trade your skills for goods, shelter, and or food. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, first of all, let's talk about this. All hope is not lost if you're broke during a recession. Okay, but it's going to depend on you. It's going to depend on how motivated you are, how skillful you are, how smart you are, and how resourceful you are. Right, so first of all, it depends on your starting point. Maybe you're living in the country, you have your own source of food, your home is paid off, you have a local place where you can go fish and catch food, catch dinner, you know how to hunt, you have a place where you can hunt, you know how to grow food, you have land to grow food on. Right, you're self-sustainable. Now in today's world, that is very rare for someone to be that self-sustainable, to be completely free of debt, and to have all those resources available. But it is possible, and those people may never feel the effect of a recession or depression. And I've read quite a lot about the Great Depression here in the United States in the early 1930s. There were people also at that time who barely noticed that there was a depression because they were self-sustainable. They lived in the country. They had the skill and the knowledge and the resources to get their own food, to purify their own water. Many people back then were more skillful. They could build their own house. If there wasn't any jobs available, they could help someone else build a house, for example. And in exchange for that, sometimes they would get food or anything, chickens. Whatever someone has to trade, you can trade your own labor for those goods or items. So even if you're broke, you still have yourself. And that's why I want to stress that health equals wealth. Because if you don't have money to trade for something or some object or item like food, yourself, you may be your own creator of wealth just through your labor, through your skill. You can barter or trade your labor for what someone else has that you might need. Okay, here's a modern example. You know how to fix cars, but you don't have any money. But you know someone in the neighborhood that does have a lot of money. And you being resourceful, you go knock on a few doors and say, hey, is there anything I can do? Is there any chores I can do? Maybe for some food. And again, hopefully it doesn't get this bad, you know. But if you did have to, if there was no food, if it was hyperinflation, supply shortages, it's hard to find food, food prices are skyrocketing, find someone that has what you need, find someone, in this case with food, knock on doors and say, hey, what can I do? I can fix cars, I can do yard work, I can build you a shed. There's always going to be somebody out there that needs something done. In exchange for what you can offer, they may give you something of value at that time. And even if you are homeless, there's still ways to get a roof over your head. For example, I have an aunt here in California, and she has someone living in her camper on her property, and this person, I believe, would likely be homeless if he didn't live there. And what he does in exchange for the living in the camper is he does yard work and repairs around the house, maintenance. Sometimes we'll run errands. She lets him drive his car. They became kind of buddy-buddy. It's pretty cool. And again, this person would be homeless if he did not live in my aunt's camper on her property. Okay, so if this person was so prideful that he would not ever want to work for somebody else or do someone else a favor, he may not have a place to live. So you may have to give up some of your freedom. You may have to give up some of your pride in order to get by during these hard times. Now, money is freedom. So if you don't have money, you might have to give up some of your freedom. You may have to move in with somebody else, live on someone else's property in a camper, like the example we just talked about. All right, so that's why I put down here, prepare to make sacrifices. Maybe you have a family. Maybe you'll have to move in with some in-laws. So when you think about it, money is freedom. Money equals freedom. Right? If you don't have money, you may have to resort to one of those other living situations, and you're going to lose some of your freedom. But it's better than being on the street freezing without a roof over your head. And it actually got that train of thought from Joshua Paul over here at Red Pill Alpha Solutions. And he talked about that in one of his videos, so I want to give a shout out to that channel for giving me this idea. I'll actually put a link to it down below if you want to go check it out. Now also, what he said in one of his other videos that I also agree with is that money doesn't make the man. It can certainly help. Okay, it certainly helps because money is freedom. But also, as far as, let's say, a relationship, do you want someone to like you or want you just based on your money? Well, of course not, because then as soon as you have some bad luck or you lose a job or something like that, boom, your relationship's done. Right? But again, having money certainly does help keep your freedom and keep you as an independent individual and less reliant on other people. And speaking of the divorces and separations and people leaving one another, recessions typically see a big uptick in divorces and separations because we know that money is one of the biggest areas of stress in any relationship. And of course, recession and depressions are certainly going to see an uptick in that type of bad situation. All right, so next on the list here, you will be your biggest asset during hard times. If you have extra time, use it wisely, and health equals wealth. Now, think about this. Would you rather have $1 million in the bank and be on the verge of having a heart attack because you're so out of shape, because you've focused your whole life on making money and working extra hours, but you neglected your health and you neglected to eat a healthy diet, and now you're so unhealthy that you have a lot of money but no energy to even go ahead and use it. Right? So I think it's a balance. No one wants to be broke, but no one wants to be so out of shape that you can barely move around either. So use your extra time wisely. If you're out of work, you lose your job because of recession or depression, why don't you focus on getting in shape? If you don't have a gym, find out ways to get in shape on your own without any equipment. I remember when I was a kid, I didn't have a pull-up bar, so I had a tree out in our yard. I did pull-ups on the tree. Now, obviously, if you're starving during a recession or depression and you don't have anything to eat, working out is going to be very difficult. Right? But think about this, and this may seem like a weird analogy, but think about prisoners. Someone goes to prison, and I actually watched a documentary. Somebody went to prison for a very stupid, what shouldn't have been a crime. It was a victimless crime. It's like drug possession or something like that. But because it was like a third offense, it was many, many years. This person ended up getting a degree in prison, also getting in the best shape of his life, because obviously he didn't have much time to devote to anything else. So he worked out every day, he studied, and came out of prison a better person. Now, I think that's a rare case because a lot of times when people go to prison, they're not very smart people. But I just wanted to give that example as a little bit of motivation. Looking at that situation, prison, yeah, not a good situation, but there are people that use that to benefit themselves. Right? I wish the prison system benefited everyone that went in there. Unfortunately, I think we have a broken justice system here in the country. I just wanted to point that out there. So you're not working 9 to 5 every day, you're unemployed, but you're going to have extra time. Use it wisely. Right? Are you going to sit there like a lot of homeless people that we see at the park, drinking every day? Every bit of spare change they get goes towards buying another bottle or cigarettes. Or are you going to use the extra time to better yourself physically and mentally. Think about all the people that are working these extra hours and they're no longer in good shape. They're losing their health. They're sacrificing their health for money. So when you do get more time, focus on you and yourself, your health, your knowledge, read books. All right, learn new skills. Maybe you'll learn real life skills that you can use for barter or trade. And who knows, maybe if you're resourceful enough, you'll find some place to live. Even if you're broke, you have such skills and such good networking, you'll find a place you can live in exchange for what we talked about earlier, doing work or being a service or being useful to someone that does have what you might need. And that's why I put down here, knowledge is value. So even if you're broke, your skills and your knowledge may be valuable to someone. So, all right, we're going to wrap this up for now. I'd like to hear from you down below. What are some ideas that you have to survive and maybe even thrive during a recession/Great Depression? Hopefully it won't get that bad, but as I always say, ride the bull, prepare for the bear. Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye for now.